Welcome to the GuthrieAmerica podcast. We sit down with the amazing people who do life in our community because we believe every story should be told. I'm your host, Hetty Coleman. Today I'm sitting down with Neil Waggoner. Before we jump into this conversation with Neil, would you please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and leave a review? It would mean the world to us. This episode is brought to you by Trilogy. Trilogy is an independent employee benefits consulting firm. They specialize in custom benefit solutions for employers and do not believe that one size fits all. Their passion is helping employers create benefit packages that attract and retain top talent in their field. Education is the key to employers and employees understanding and getting the most out of their employee benefits. Check out trilogy-alliance.com. Maggie and her team over at Trilogy are doing amazing work. Neil, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. Now, not a far drive from the west side to the east side.
It was a pretty short drive. Yeah.
Now, did you grow up on the east side?
No, I've been on the west side. The family farm was about 6 miles west of Guthrie.
Okay.
So I've always been on the western side. I never saw the flood from the east side.
Got you.
I was always trapped on the west side.
Now, I don't know if we've ever talked about the flood on here, but now, was there ever a time where you had to drive all the way around to come into town, or what did that look like for you?
No, we stayed on the west side, and sometimes we got trapped. We couldn't get to. Sometimes you couldn't get to Edmond, you couldn't get to Crescent because the Cimarron was out, and you couldn't get through Guthrie. So we were just on a little island.
Just kind of stuck.
Yeah. You couldn't go down Broadway either.
Now, even though it was very, there was tragedy in that, but in the things like people losing their homes, things like that. For us, though, like as kids, you just don't know any better. So it was an exciting time to be missing school or go down there and see the flood and all that stuff. Did y'all partake in that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, everybody had to go see the flood.
Yeah.
A few years it was bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah.
It was tragic for people down there.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think looking at it now with the flats and all the great things they've done to clean that up and make it into a great venue. It's a great Guthrie asset now.
Yeah, for sure.
Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed? Yeah. And then also, just some of the things that they're talking about doing with the elbow, as far as kind of turning that into something that people can come in, like a park and things like that.
Yeah, they're going to build a bridge.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. I had friends that lived in the elbow, but also I got baptized in the elbow at Mount Zion before it moved to the east side.
Really?
So yeah. So
that's when the bridge was there by the
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the bridge.
This is a great time because if you go by the old Bentons, the creek is way down, so you can probably just walk right across. Because that's what Jennifer and I did.
Oh, okay.
We crossed the creek there, and you can walk down the old streets and see the old buildings down there.
Oh,
now, I don't know, maybe we were breaking the law, but
I don't think so. I think people do it all the time, actually.
Yeah.
Whenever they can get across or find
it was. Definitely one of those hidden things in Guthrie that you got to know it's there.
Yeah.
A lot of history, cool houses that are the ruins of houses.
Yeah.
Really, really neat.
Yeah. Now, Jennifer, how did y'all meet?
Well,
since you mentioned her, it was kind of later on, but
right.
Since you mentioned, tell me how you and Jennifer met.
So we had actually our cousins were married. So, my cousin went to church with her at Guthrie Christian Church.
Okay.
And so it was one of those deals we kind of sort of knew each other. And then where the magic happened was I was selling my old clunker car after I was about ready to go to college.
Okay.
And they bought my old car.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
okay.
I had it up at Homeland with the for sale sign on it. I worked at Balseers.
Okay.
They were pumping gas, changing tires. And her dad came by and they looked at it, and I actually drove over to the Guthrie Christian Church to show it to Jennifer. Jennifer was over there, and that's my first time I really saw her. And I was, pretty impressed. Yeah. But the funny story is she went and looked at the car, but what she really wanted to check out, she wanted to see the inside of the trunk really bad. It's like, all right, sure, here you go. And she looked in there. She was like, yeah, it looks good. Sold.
It was all about the trunk.
The trunk. She had, I don't know. She was really interested in seeing the trunk, and it was a nice trunk. I kept it clean.
That is it. I don't know if I've ever had anybody like really be that hard about the trunk, but that's pretty funny.
So it was funny because when we dated, I got to drive my old car.
Oh,
And then,
so it's like you sold it back to yourself.
Well, yeah, so essentially, yeah. And then, unfortunately, she learned of all the, I was a farm boy, so when the muffler was dragging, you just got some baling wire and wired it up. You never fixed it right.
Yeah.
You just fixed it good enough.
Yeah.
So she learned after buying it how I tend to fix things sometimes.
Well, sometimes the best way to do something is do it yourself, right?
That's right.
So that probably was even more impressive to her. Like, oh, I got to be a man's man.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to do anything like that. Don't tell my wife.
So then we went on a double date, Jacob Carey and another friend. That was July 1st, 1995.
Okay.
So.
Now, did Jennifer go to school, Guthrie?
She went to Mulhall.
Mulhall. Okay, that's what I thought.
She was kind of right on the line.
Okay. Yeah.
At Wildcat Curve.
Gotcha. Yes, because I was thinking that she was not. I mean, she was in the area, but it wasn't like she grew up in Guthrie in the sense of like going to school here.
Yeah.
But evidently she was going to First Christian, so.
Guthrie Christian.
Yeah. So, Guthrie Christian,
Which is on the west side.
West side.
Yeah.
But now
over here.
Yep.
After
I always get the two mixed up. Sorry, Chad. Sorry, Ronnie. So so you all date for how long before you popped the big question?
Oh gosh, we got married in '99.
Okay.
March of '99. So we dated for quite a while, because I had to go back to college.
Yeah.
That was the time when I started at OSU and then I went to MIT, and so I had to go back to Boston. So we had a long distance relationship back before cell phones, and I mean it was a big deal to call long distance. I had to have a little Sprint card that I had to use for long distance. I had to go to the payphone at MIT and I dialed the number and punch in the codes, and we could talk about, I could afford about once or twice a week to talk.
Yeah.
But a lot of letters.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, y'all made it through.
Yeah.
Now, was there any time, like 1999, email came by then, right? Or no?
It was just, so email kind of started, Yahoo started, all that stuff when I was
AOL.
at MIT about 96.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we did. I don't know if she had email, but I used email a lot.
So you graduate. Okay. So you graduate high school, go to OSU for a little bit.
Right.
You and Jennifer meet in that time via selling your car, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you graduate from OSU and go to MIT.
Well, I transferred.
Okay.
So I went 2.5 years to OSU, and then I applied for transfer.
Gotcha.
And got into the mechanical engineering. So I kind of did my engineering basics at OSU, and then went to MIT to do kind of my kind of the hardcore mechanical engineering classes.
Now, did OSU just not have a good engineering program, or did you just aspire to go to MIT?
It was just one of those things. It was one of those things. It'd be cool to go. It's MIT.
Yeah.
And that was before the internet. I don't know. I guess I called them and they emailed me mailed me stuff, and I mailed stuff back, and it was a different time. It wasn't like I just Googled it.
No, yeah. You had to do a little bit of research at that time to really find and discover things that you want to be a part of. So, and the only reason I'm really asking about MIT is because now you've left Guthrie. So you're in Boston, a big city.
Yeah,
and
fish out of water, man.
You said what?
Fish out of water.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Like, what was that like leaving the small town of Guthrie going to Boston?
They thought I was the funniest thing. When they heard, a lot of people thought I was from Australia.
Oh, because of the accent.
Because of the accent.
Yeah.
Oh, they thought I was. It was such going from Guthrie to Boston could not be any more extreme. And I lived in Boston. I lived right by the Fenway Park.
Gotcha.
And so I walked across the river every day to MIT. MIT's actually in Cambridge, right across the river. And so it was an eye-opening experience. And so Jed drove up with me. I took my truck up there, which is crazy to have a vehicle in Boston anyway. And so we going into Boston, I was like, what did I get myself into, man? And it's cold, snowy. I went up there in January, and it was freezing. And their winters up there are serious.
I bet.
They don't mess around.
Yeah.
And
now, when you're driving in and it's freezing and snowing like this, like, you may have known that it got cold, but did you not just know that it got to that level?
They have snow that doesn't go away all year.
Uh-huh.
Like the piles of snow because it just never melts. I mean, yeah, I wasn't quite ready for that. I mean, I had a little non-insulated Carhartt coat. I still have it, and I mean that thing wasn't nearly warm enough. Yeah, and I ended up meeting some cool guys. I was in the dorms for a while, and then I met some really cool guys at Fiji's up there. So they had they welcomed me into the fraternity, so I got to live. That's how I lived off campus.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
great friends. Yeah, great
That's
people.
good. Are you still connected with?
Yeah, sort of. Not as much as I would like. They've kind of all scattered. A bunch of them went to New York City on the stock market, and the other half went out to Silicon Valley, and they're spread out so much.
Yeah.
We haven't really got together.
Gotcha.
Much.
So Jed is your brother. You mentioned Jed driving down with you to Boston, getting ready to go to school. How many siblings do you have?
So I have an older brother.
Okay.
That's 3 years older than me. He lives in California now.
So you're to 89?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Ty.
Okay. So my uncle graduated in 89, so I'm sure I probably know who he is.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I saw him or something like that. So, okay. So there's 3 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell us what that was like growing up. Like, was it true brothers or like fighting and competitiveness and all that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, one of them, somebody was getting ganged up on. Okay? I remember one time Ty and Jed ganged up on me and shoved me in the dryer and shut the door.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they didn't turn it on.
Thank you. Yeah.
But my mom, I mean, she had to put up with 3 boys. She was the only female in the house, and yeah, it was quite the adventure.
Yeah. Now, growing up on the farm as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was farm life like, and like, did all of you brothers share responsibility?
Oh yeah. I mean, we were. So my dad really started, farming full time when I was like in 3rd, 4th grade.
Okay.
And we were driving the tractor, as soon as we could reach the pedal.
Mm-hmm.
All through the summer we ran the tractor, disc, plowed. Harvest was a big deal. You had to cut the wheat, work cattle, catch cattle. You always we're moving cattle from point A to point B, feeding cattle. It's 7-day-a-week deal.
Yeah.
And I was driving wheat trucks, 14, to the granary, big 2-ton wheat trucks. So it was good. I'm telling you, I learned more about engineering on the farm than I probably did at school.
For sure. So that was going to be one of my questions. Like, you go to school to be an engineer. Mm-hmm. Was there any aspiration or something like that came out of farming? Like, how did you end up wanting to be an engineer and then come back to farming?
Well, yeah. So I didn't know anybody that was an engineer.
Okay.
Nobody in my family was an engineer. I didn't have any friends, mutual friends. Nobody in my circle was an engineer. I didn't really know what it was. And I went to Miss Ireton's class, a calculus class, and she had a guest speaker that came and talked about, he was a mechanical engineer, and talked about what it was and the types of things you need to study to be a mechanical engineer. And that was my first exposure. And that really, from day one, I decided, I was going to be a mechanical, I was going to do engineering for sure. And I had leaned towards mechanical side. And that's really how I got to be an engineer.
So whenever you went you go to OSU, then go to Boston, did you stay mechanical engineer or did you change? Because there's several.
No, I started.
Okay.
Yeah, I started mechanical and it's, even OSU, it's hard. I mean, the intro to engineering class has 1,000, 2,000 people. Mm-hmm. And they said, look around, 90% of you won't finish. Uh-huh. I mean, they weed out a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not because they want to, it's just as hard.
Yeah.
And so only 10% of the people that start engineering at OSU actually finish. And at least that was the statistic when I was there. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of them transition to other majors.
Yeah. So once you got there, because there's several different kinds of engineers, do you get a taste some of the other ones? When you taste the others, you're still like, no, mechanical engineer is my game.
No, you get exposure to a lot of different types. Like we took a circuits class, electrical circuits class, and we took a structural class. So you understand a little bit about all the different types of engineering.
Gotcha.
And so you almost have to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of projects we do is collaborative. So it's got structural, it's got civil, it's got electrical. So you have to have an understanding of that to do a complete project.
Yeah. So going back to the farm life, you said you learned a lot of engineering. Like, what do you mean by that? For me, who I'm not an engineer, what would be some things like, man, on the farm I was doing this, and this translate over to being an engineer?
Well, we never used a mechanic. No one ever fixed anything. So we were taking apart. I mean, you fix engines, you fix tires, you take stuff apart. My dad was a master welder, still is, and you learn welding, you learn hydraulics. Hydraulics is a big deal in the engineering world. So you learn how hydraulics works and how to wire up stuff. So a lot of hands-on that you can't get that in a classroom.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of hands-on.
That's most things, right? Like, I feel like there's a lot of things, like, you come out of that situation, you hear people, teachers, whatever, talk about, man, what I learned in the classroom or whatever, I did not learn.
Right.
In my education, I think education is more for that discipline, like,
it is.
Yeah, to see if you can get through it and make it.
I mean, my philosophy is the college teaches you to learn.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's really the key.
Yeah.
Is it trains you to learn things.
Yeah.
Because when you get out in the real world, you have to learn new stuff constantly.
Yeah.
And no school can prepare you for everything.
Yeah. So you go back. You do some farming now.
Yeah, I have a farm.
Yeah.
I've elected to let Jed be the rancher. So I have the land and he runs the cattle.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I don't have any actively. I have chickens and goats.
Okay. Now your big brother, does he do any?
No, I don't think he does any.
Okay. He doesn't mess around with it. Yeah. Some people are like that. Like, once you get out of it, you're like, whatever. Or
yeah, I didn't want it to be an occupation.
Yes. Yeah. But you still appreciate it. And still have some aspect.
Oh yeah, I still have, I have a tractor.
Yeah.
I enjoy, and it's like everything else, right? I mean, people like classy cars because that's the car they drove in high school. They like video games, retro video games, because that's what they remember from childhood. So people tend to go back to their youth.
For sure. Talking about farming again, just a little bit more. Growing up in Guthrie, what are some things, I was not a farmer, but like pertaining to Guthrie being a farmer when you were younger, what are some things that coming into town, was there anything like that you had to do in order that was connected to farming or growing up out there?
A little bit. So back in the day, like, where the old furniture factory is on College, it was Guthrie Cotton Oil.
Yeah.
So, and harvest, we would drive the wheat trucks, and also down, used to be Farm Enterprise, kind of by the depot. There was that was the main granary in there. So we were constantly coming and going there, getting feed,
Gotcha.
hauling wheat there, etc. Yeah.
Were you driving like at a young age, even though you were coming into town?
All the time.
Did you ever have an experience of a cop pulling you over? Or never pulled over?
No, never pulled over, especially on the dirt roads. I mean, we were constantly driving, from a very young age.
Yeah.
On the dirt road. I mean, I learned to drive, I was probably five or six.
Okay.
I learned my dad had a Datsun pickup stick shift.
Yeah.
And I learned
to manage that.
Yeah. So I was in the driveway, and this is how things were different back then.
Yeah.
So I told my older brother I wanted to learn how to drive, and he said, okay, I'll get in the pickup. So he, we're in the driveway. He says, okay, now put the clutch in, put it in reverse, ease off the clutch. And so I'm bouncing down the driveway, almost to hit the trees. And I didn't know how to stop. So he's yelling at me, hit the metal pedal, hit the metal pedal.
Oh, is he not in the car with you?
Oh, he was riding. No,
he was riding. Okay.
Side.
He's telling you from the passenger side.
Yeah, he told me how to go. He didn't tell me how to stop. and so, luckily, but from then on, so yeah, it's people that can't drive a standard. It's kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have an automatic until I was in high school.
Now wait a second. Did you hit the how did you end up stopping?
Huh?
How did you end up stopping?
I
You eventually figured it out?
He yelled at me to hit, push the middle pedal, and I slammed on it and stopped. Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
my
break
goodness. It. Yeah. That's fun. Well, thankfully you're all right now. So let's transition. So you start getting into school at some point, because you weren't homeschooled. You went to Guthrie school the whole entire.
Yep.
Talk to me about your time in Guthrie schools. Like, was there some teachers that stood out to you? Was there a favorite school? that you went to over the others?
Yeah, I had, great teachers. I think fifth. The other thing that was unique is we were in the accelerated class.
Okay.
So there was a core group of folks that really were in the same class throughout, elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of like every year you had the same people. So there was a good bond there. Fifth grade, one of the most memorable was probably fifth grade Mrs. Waggoner.
Okay.
She was in that, and what was really cool, she had air conditioning.
Okay.
Man.
Was she in the annex?
She was in that annex.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like you go down
Yeah.
there were 2 classrooms that she had air conditioning. Man, that was hot stuff.
Yeah.
So
we did not in the main building.
But
I had Miss Andrews.
Yeah. She and so she had an early computer, PC, and she would let us finish when we finished our work. There was computer games that were all text based.
Mm-hmm.
We could go there and we'd all play these games, and it was really good. Of course, at the time I was like, well, she's letting us just play, but we were learning a vast amount about computers and how they work and how you type stuff in and stuff comes out. And there was a good introduction to computers that we kind of accidentally fell into.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, that was very memorable. I think high school. Remember Miss Hinky?
Yep.
Oh man, she was great. She had a way of teaching that was so unique. And she'd sit up there with that overhead projector. And
Yeah.
you ever have her?
Yes. No, I did not have her.
Oh yeah, she was.
But I remember just from the hallways and everything. But yeah, no, I did
yeah.
not have her. But yeah, the overhead projector. Terry Bennett was on it here recently on the podcast, and he was talking about Miss Crooks. She had the overhead, but there was always some teacher some didn't use it the way others would.
Right.
But there was always one that seemed like that was their spot. They were mainly math teachers, I guess.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Miss Crooks and Miss Ireton didn't use it much. She used chalkboard.
Okay.
But Miss Ireton was again because of the introduction to engineering and really that higher level mathematics that we excelled at, because I took what they call math analysis and then calculus in high school. Definitely pivotal for me.
Because you had it for both of those, right?
Yeah, I had it for both of those, and we learned a lot. I had some great teachers. I had some pretty lousy ones too. Okay, let's just.
You gotta have a good mix of them, right?
I had classes we didn't do anything in, like nothing the whole year. It's like, who's manning the ship here?
Yeah. How does this work?
How does this work? So I had a mix, but Miss Ireton, you learned in that class.
I think Miss Ireton has been mentioned several times on the podcast by somebody saying, hey, that was one of the teachers. Even my Uncle Eric was like, Miss Ireton was the one who really inspired him or was a really good teacher at SN. So kudos to Miss Ireton, because she's had a few name drops on the podcast. So you went from fifth grade to 6th grade, right? And there was a solo school. Then you get ready to go into junior high.
Right.
6th grade, you started having those decisions like if you're gonna do math, you play sports or whatever. I feel like going into junior high. Mm-hmm. Did you do any of those things? Did you try band in 6th grade? I feel like
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I can't sing. Okay, I can't. I'm pretty decent from a music perspective, like playing a note on an instrument, but singing vocally,
not your jam.
no. So I had to. You either did vocal or you did band, and you had to try out. And I was like, I'm doing band.
Yeah.
So I did band. I played the clarinet. And,
okay.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
How long did you play?
I played into junior high.
Okay.
So I think two, at least 2.
Okay. Yeah, I know most people if there'd be very few that made it from 6th grade to junior high, then after junior high, going into high school, that seemed like that would be that drop off too. And then I feel like people who started the freshman year would either go to their senior year or didn't do their senior year for some reason.
Right.
So, because I think it's a big commitment doing band. So just not a lot of people would do it after that. So thinking about high school, let's go back. So junior high, we just talked about your daughter going from junior high to becoming a freshman this year.
Yeah.
Do you remember that experience for you, and were you nervous about it or anything?
I do. Yeah, I remember that. That was, and the big deal is where your locker was, right?
Okay, yeah.
I got a lousy locker on my freshman year. So way at the end, on the south end of the building. No cool kids were down there. So I always found somebody else that I would share a locker with.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so I'd be close to my friends.
Yeah.
You know, be in the cool section. Yeah.
Now in high school, like some of those poor kids that you had elementary with, like in high school, did y'all end up having the same kind of classes together? Because I guess did they have AP?
Yeah, not really. I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't, really that core group, the accelerated class, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of, there's so many classes options that you kind of spread out.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah.
Gotcha.
And you get exposure to other class. I had great friends that were a year younger than me and older than me, and then Jed had a great group of guys and folks that. So when I was a senior, he was coming in. So yeah, it was a good blend of age groups.
Gotcha. High school, where were y'all hanging out?
Oh man, H&M carpet a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
With the Weir,
Harold,
yeah,
across from McDonald's. That
yeah.
was and we always found random spots out in the country. We go to Delisi, and we had a place I coined Chattahoochee.
Chattahoochee, where was that at? Is that?
It was, and the poor kid, don't imitate this. It was behind the Guthrie sewer plant.
Oh, okay.
The creek. You had to go down a railroad right away.
Okay.
And we never got caught there. We got caught almost everywhere else. But Chattahoochee was that go-to, and I mean, it was so stupid. We would go. Of course, it was cold, so you need a fire, right?
Yeah.
Well, you need fuel. So somebody had the bright idea. Well, you go get old used tires and light them on fire. So we would burn. We'd be out there and we'd burn tires. And have you ever watched a tire burn?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a blaze.
No, yeah.
We'd come home. We'd have black soot all over us, and when the tires burn, the steel remains. These poor people at Delisi, they show up to work on Monday, and there's a pile of steel right there in the road. We wouldn't clean up anything.
Of course not.
And we'd come back the next weekend and it'd be all cleaned up. I guess the workers cleaned up after us every time. It was just stupid.
And then y'all just do it again.
We just do it again.
Yeah.
And I told some of my buddies at MIT, they were like, we all came back. We all came back from summer.
Okay.
We were all in I was in this brownstone, which is it was practically a mansion, 4-story mansion in Boston.
And this was with the fraternity?
This was the fraternity house. We had a mahogany lined dining room, and we're all going around in circles. What'd you do for this summer? And I told them, I said, I would hang out. We'd just hang out with my friends. We'd go out and we'd burn some used tires and have, just hang out. And they howled with laughter. They thought that was the funniest. And I kind of looked at them like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, what's so funny about that?
Doesn't everybody do that? And they harassed me about that for the rest of my time there.
Yeah. Now you all cruised, of course, downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have to ask, like, what was your crew like? Did you go through McDonald's, come up to the temple, or did you not make it to the temple?
We go to the temple.
Okay.
And go left.
Okay.
And then you go left, and then you end up at the junior high. That was our normal route.
Got you. So you all didn't go around the temple, or you didn't go through the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
You went around to Cleveland.
We did a left.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody has a different route. I'm like.
Oh, and then if you mixed it up, you would cruise down through Highland.
Oh, got you.
Highland Park. That's
if you had gas money.
You got to mix it up. About every third lap, you got to do the Highland route.
And it was pitch dark by that time.
Oh, I guess it's being there.
Yeah, that's good. Now tell me.
CB tag.
Tell me about CB tag.
Oh, CB tag was great. Okay, so this is pre-cell phone. I mean, we all got CBs, and we had the stupid magnetic mount antennas that would go on top of the car, and we'd have our CBs plugged into the cigarette lighter, and we would talk, and everybody had their handles, right? Because you can't use, mine was Farmer. Okay, or Merle, I can't remember, one of the two. I think it was Farmer. Everybody had their handle, so I guess the authorities can't figure out who you are, right? And so
why would you be worried about? Did the authorities were on the frequencies too, or
I guess they could.
Funny? Okay,
it was just that CB world.
Okay,
you don't use your real name.
Gotcha.
It's kind of stupid.
Gotcha.
But so we would play CV tag, and so one person, it's like hide and go seek. One person hides, and they give clues to where they're at, and everybody else is driving around.
Gotcha.
So you typically would start out with your surface. What surfaces? People would ask questions. What surface did you do?
Okay.
Well, I went from asphalt to gravel to grass. Okay. And you would ask questions like that. Are you near water? Are you near this? It's kind of a combination of hide and go seek and 20 questions.
Yeah.
And then
you have a sphere of like you can't go outside of
Yeah,
okay.
we had boundaries.
Okay.
Some people would go really far, so we'd say industrial is the boundary, so it would have to be within a certain limit, and you could kind of tell when you're getting close because the signal would be stronger. If you couldn't hear anybody, if you couldn't hear the person hiding, you were getting way off.
Yeah.
So those things only had a range of about 2 miles.
Oh, okay.
A good day. So
gotcha.
You knew if you were getting kind of close.
Yeah.
But I mean, we hit in some crazy spots. Jeff Mactoff one time, he hid under the bridge. Literally, he went. Where AutoQuip is.
Oh yes, yeah.
If you go west, there's that bridge there.
Yeah.
Pretty nice bridge.
Yeah.
He drove down that embankment, down by the creek. He was under that bridge.
Y'all found him?
It took a long time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I guess you'll probably only be looking for one person.
Oh yeah.
And then after that you'd be like, oh, we're done. Yeah.
Well, then if you found the person, you got to hide.
Okay.
So that's how we did it. Oh man, we played that like crazy.
Yeah. Now when did y'all start playing that? It was definitely in high school.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Junior, probably when I was a junior, probably.
Okay.
Junior, senior.
Yeah. I remember that because I remember you all having antennas on top of your cars and stuff like that. But no, I never played it. But
yeah.
But I always wondered about that. So what I was thinking about is like you've had kids now, all in high school or once graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all ever talk about the things you did versus what they do now? And what do they do now? Because I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, what do y'all do?
I mean, in my opinion, people who say the kids are getting worse are insane.
They are so insane.
They are so much better than we were.
So much better. I so agree with you. Yeah.
Well, we strive to hide stuff from our parents.
Uh-huh.
There's no hiding anything.
No.
I mean, there's more transparency.
Way more transparency.
I mean, I can pull my phone up and see where every one of my kids are.
Yeah.
And they don't mind.
No. Yeah.
They post to social media. They have a transparency about them that we never had.
Yeah.
We didn't want our parents knowing what we were doing.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any way of finding out.
No.
Because kids typically weren't telling their parents for their parents to go tell another parent. Like everybody was keeping a secret, so nobody parents would even know. Because I talk about stuff now, my mom would be like, "Y'all did what?" I was like,
"Oh, I do that." Jen and I drop a story on my mom every now and then. She's like, "Are you serious? You really did that?"
Yeah.
But I mean, because you wouldn't call. I mean, you'd be out all night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't like they could call you on the phone.
No.
And unless you called them.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're not gonna call your parents at midnight.
Yeah.
Right. But I had a pretty strict curfew. It wasn't like super early. I can't remember if it was midnight or 1 or something.
Yeah.
But we had this poodle. That sucker. I would be late. I would try to tiptoe in. I mean, I'd almost get to my bed, and that sucker would start yapping. I mean, you could not get. That was Gertrude.
Yeah.
You could not get past Gertrude. That thing was. Yeah, it was like a burglar alarm.
So did your parents wake up?
Oh, they would know exactly what time I got home.
Oh
every
my
night.
goodness, yeah. So did they get on to you the next day?
Yeah, they were. I don't remember being grounded much.
Yeah, but they'd say something to you.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to violate the curfew. Just
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son. So my wife stayed, even though you 360 whatever. She stays up until my son gets home. Where I'm like, I'm going to bed. Because my parents didn't stay up for me. And so she stays up for him and everything. But he rarely even goes anywhere. And if he goes somewhere, he's like home at a decent time. Like, I've never had to say, hey, you got a curfew or anything like that. Because one, he rarely goes. My daughter goes nowhere really. But I'm like, man, we were never at home when we were kids. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just my kids. I don't know. But is there anything that they do now you're like, we would have never done that? Like with your kids here in Guthrie, is there anything that they do?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, like I said, it's just totally different generation. Yeah. I mean, just the whole the way they interact and the way they socialize is so electronic based now.
Yeah, that's true.
That it's very foreign to how life was for us.
Because somebody was saying, like, why do they need to cruise when they can FaceTime or
Yeah, exactly.
jump on and do
Yeah.
stuff that we couldn't do? Like, you had to go cruise if you were going to try to find somebody, because you know, sometimes like phones in the house, and if you're not at the house and I didn't catch you before you left, like we could, you had to get out in the streets to find.
Well, my kids will just turn on FaceTime and they just leave it on. Right?
Set it
They
down.
just set it down. They're like brushing their teeth. They're like, it's like a continual stream of and I'll walk in and I'll start talking and I'm like, wait a minute, you're on the phone.
Yeah.
But they just leave it on. And that's the other thing too, that, I mean, I don't like using FaceTime. I don't want to see, first off, I don't want to see myself.
You don't want to see yourself.
I don't want to see myself. And I look horrible in that little, that fisheye camera they got. So, but that's the culture, is they would prefer to call and use FaceTime.
Yeah.
Whereas I want to use a phone.
For sure. So do you still hang out with the people from Guthrie that you went to high school with?
Yeah.
Like, is that who you regularly hang out with? Who are some of those people that you?
I mean, Greg Shine.
Okay.
He was, he would have been a year younger than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do a lot of.
He still live in Guthrie?
Yeah, he lives out east.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a Stillwater fireman.
Okay.
And so him and Jeff Flurry.
You hang out with Jeff?
Yeah.
Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all kind of have side by sides that we go riding together. So we'll
Okay. Are those what are they called? Are they called side by sides?
Yeah, we had the Razor, Polaris
The
and
Razor.
Razor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because Jeff and I kind of hang out together because we go to church or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff said you just got a new one and they tricked it out.
Yeah. Well, they're hard to find.
Okay.
I managed. It was a little nicer than what I was wanting.
Yeah.
But it was available.
Okay.
So I bought it. So I bought a 4-seater.
Now, when he says tricked out, like, what do y'all do? Like, because I know that he's really into him. Like, I think they've been into it for a while. What do y'all do to him to make him tricked out?
So, like on mine, I added a winch.
Okay.
Just in case you get stuck, you got to winch yourself out.
Gotcha.
It's pretty stupid. I just put in a 10-inch kicker subwoofer into it. Of course, you got to have a woofer.
So y'all booming like high school?
Yeah. I'm booming just like I did in high school. I just finished that. I put, but I didn't do a whole lot to it. I put a roof on it because you don't want to get rained on.
Gotcha.
A windshield.
So they don't always come with roofs?
They don't.
Okay.
If you buy them bare, they don't have a roof. They don't have a windshield. They don't have. I mean, you can buy them with all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just happy to get one. I just liked the way it was.
Yeah.
But like Jeff, so you can put bigger tires on it. You can kind of jack them up.
Gotcha.
Put different suspension in. What they call it, gear reduction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's limitless.
And these things y'all drive like Guthrie now. You can pay $100 or whatever.
Yeah.
You can drive them like cars, like
Right.
just be around everywhere, driving around.
Yeah. So I've got my Guthrie permit, so I
Okay.
can drive. I'm not supposed to drive on a highway. But you can drive on the city streets.
Gotcha.
But like Greg and Jeff, they have theirs. They have a state tag, so they can ride on anything but a federal highway.
So I-35 they couldn't drive.
No, yeah, anything federal.
But they could do.
They can do 33.
Okay.
They can't do 74.
Gotcha.
I mean, they can't do like 77. Like,
How do you know which one's federal? I didn't even know this was a thing.
You want to know. The signs are different.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you notice it, if you look at the street sign for
Okay.
77 versus 33,
Okay.
the state highway has a different symbol.
Gotcha.
But so you're not technically, Division is a federal highway.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're not supposed to be on Division, but you see them all the time.
Yeah, they probably don't hold that against you, right?
Yeah.
Divisions?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do that also. Like, there's do you have a YouTube? Like, I saw something on YouTube where you were out. Y'all went out and kind of did this traveling or something like that. I saw a video of you. I thought that was super cool. Y'all go in the desert or whatever. I don't know what that was.
Oh yeah, Moab.
Yeah,
That was Moab, Utah.
yeah.
So I took the drone out, and so I was actually with Greg and Jeff and a lot of other people from Guthrie.
Gotcha.
And we went to Moab, Utah. And,
Gotcha.
And so, I was good and bad because on the last day I crashed the drone into a tree.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so I managed to extract a video from that. So that's an interesting one. Go to my Facebook and see the Moab drone crash.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty funny.
I thought I saw it on YouTube. Do you have YouTube too?
I think I posted it to you.
Okay. I thought I saw it on
Not many
YouTube.
followers on
Okay.
my YouTube account. I'm not famous like you are.
No, I'm not famous at all. Not at all. Cool. So, okay, tell me some cool spots that you went to when you were a kid or growing up, like Daylight Donuts. What's some things downtown that y'all would go to and hang out sometimes?
Yeah, man, I think on the west side there by kind of by Cotterell, there used to be, man, this is the old time. There used to be like a kind of like a Sonic type place over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't eat out much.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't. You know, it was a different time. You didn't just go eat out all the time like we do now.
Yeah,
We didn't. I mean, going to McDonald's was a big deal.
for sure.
Yeah, even getting a Coke at the gas station was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays it's you know every time you
Go somewhere you
Go
think you
somewhere.
got to stop.
right, yeah, but we didn't really eat out much. You know, I remember if we went to Edmond, we'd go to Long John Silver's.
Uh-huh.
Oh man,
That was a big deal.
big deal.
Like super excited to hit on the Long
Yeah, Long John Silver's.
John Silver's is good.
It was.
I was telling my son about Long John Silver's. He's like, Long John Silver's, what is that? And so I looked at it because I was like, I don't even think there is any more Long John, but there is. There's still one in Edmond or somewhere
Oh,
else.
is there?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I didn't know Long John Silver's was still around hanging out. Now, did you ever do the Victor Mall?
I did. Yeah, I'd
Okay.
walk from junior high, walk up to the,
Okay,
to the
gotcha.
Victor Mall.
Do the ice cream store
yeah.
or whatever? Was it ice cream or candy shop in there or something
Yeah,
like
you
that?
could get like a drink and
Yeah,
ice cream, and the candy store was next door. But that place was always deserted.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they made any money.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Well, they weren't. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's the reason it went down. But it's always a great thing. I think we all sometimes have these dreams about doing something in a small community
Mm-hmm.
and not recognize like it's hard to build something in a small community because you just
Yeah.
don't have the traffic. So many, like we were a bedroom community for the long. I feel like you just come sleep here and everybody goes and works outside of the city, outside of Guthrie, and so. I think now we probably people hang out a little bit more, but it's still not as strong as you would
Right.
think it would be. But hopefully, at some point. But starting a business is hard, so
Oh, it is.
I can only imagine back then
Mhm.
what that looked like for those people who kept trying. I remember like Nelson Sporting Goods.
Oh yeah.
Like there was always some type of shoe store or something like
Yeah.
that trying.
Kinnemers and
Kinnemers
yeah.
and all that. And I guess when our parents, did your parents grow up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And I guess at some point people were shopping there, right? More because you just probably didn't drive to the city as much.
Oh yeah. I think Anthony's was there, JCPenney's.
JCPenney's,
I mean, you
yeah.
bought your clothes local.
Yeah, Otasco
Oh yeah.
was there, and so
There
there
was
was a lot
McVickers.
of McVickers.
You go there, get your school supplies.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So we had all those things, but then at some point they don't. Did you ever think about not coming back home? Like, did you always know that you were going to stay in Guthrie?
Yeah, I mean, it felt weird when I lived in Boston and I would come back. It was like, this feels really weird.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it just felt so different
Yeah.
that I was like, I didn't know. But I mean, again, by that time I was, dating Jennifer, and really, one thing I noticed was I knew some very successful engineers in that New England area, and they didn't live very good. They make good money, but it's so expensive to live there.
Got you.
I mean, the quality of life here
Yeah.
per dollar is enormous.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I had some. I mean, there's some friends that in California, big cities in California, and they don't have a very big house. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle.
Yeah. And you started to recognize that as
yeah.
I could I could do much better living in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
So what was your first job? Did you?
So I worked at a company, an engineering company called Benham.
Gotcha.
And I worked there for almost 16 years.
Oh,
They
wow.
were down on Broadway and Britton Road.
Okay.
And so that's really where I got my true experience,
Got you.
which was essential to. So now I have my own engineering company,
Okay.
and so all the stuff I learned there, I was able to apply, to the new business.
Got you. Well, that's cool. So you decide to come back home, live in Guthrie, raise your family here. What are some key things that you feel like you just talked about, like quality of life is better as far as like you don't have the struggles? What are some other great reasons to raise a family here in Guthrie?
I mean, I just don't think. I think if you just try to set up roots and not to bash Edmond or at all, or a bigger city like that, you're not going to have the relation. I don't think the relationships here are so key. I mean, you can't go to Walmart without seeing somebody you know, right? I mean, I don't think if I lived in Oklahoma City, I wouldn't know anybody. And it's surprising. One of the things that I learned going from small town USA to a big city and living in a big city, a big city can be pretty lonely. You don't just walk up to somebody, and it's hard to build relationships there because everyone's busy and they're running around and they're in their little bubble. You don't build friends that easy, and it's like the bigger the city, the harder that is. And so I think just the relationships here and people are good here. I mean, you know, it cracks me out just the real talk. What's that? Real Talk of Guthrie
on Facebook.
Oh, that's hilarious. Some of the stuff people post on that thing, it's like and the responses. So I'm putting together a greatest hits. So I'm taking screenshots of some of the most ridiculous things on that. And I'm gonna put a montage together. So I got it coming.
Oh my goodness! How long have you been working on this?
Oh, I just troll through it, and when I see something funny or I see a comment, like somebody complains because someone complained the other day that airplanes were flying over Guthrie, and someone said, "We've got an airport." What do you expect? You know?
Oh my goodness!
It's upsetting their dog. And I mean, it's constant.
I cannot wait for this. Please text me the link, whatever.
I'm going to put it together. It's going to be the greatest hits. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you just grab some popcorn and jump in some of these groups. And my aunt, so I'm not on them as much. And so my aunt, she didn't even live in Guthrie, right? She lives in Tennessee. She grew up here, but she's in all of the groups, I think. And she's always sending me something. She's like, can you believe that they said this about Guthrie? Or can you believe? I'm like, oh, it is so funny. Yeah, you're right, though. I can't wait to see that. Now, do your kids talk about leaving Guthrie, or do you think your kids going to stay?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think maybe not Guthrie, but close to here. Yeah. Maybe.
That's one of my, I'm trying to build something we need to build something to make sure our kids stay around. But my middle son the other day, he was like, Dad, I think I was trying to get it why you stay in Guthrie versus going anywhere else. You know, he said, I'm starting to appreciate it because I think we haven't traveled a ton, but he's went places. And so he's had the opportunity to kind of see big city versus a small town or whatever.
I think it's important to experience other cities.
Yes.
So you appreciate it.
Yeah.
I lived in Stillwater.
Yeah.
It was different than Guthrie. And then when I went to Boston, I mean, that was a different experience. So I appreciate it more because I was not. I think if you're born and raised in Guthrie and never see anything else, you're not going to appreciate what you got. Yeah. And I talked to a lot of people that move here, and they're just blown away in Guthrie. Yeah. And the people, and just the atmosphere here. I mean, it's unique. Yeah, it is. It is.
What are some cool things that you really enjoy about Guthrie that we haven't always had? What are some things that you see now that you think man, I'm glad we got that. That's cool.
Yeah, I think just the Red Brick Nights events. I mean, that's great. The coffee shops are a great addition. Boken and Rick's. And the downtown area stayed nice. And there's just a good vibe. Just people gathering together more. And the high school's nicer than when we were there. I mean, the junior high's nicer. They complain about how old the buildings are, but it's a lot nicer.
They have AC. What else do you need if you got
Exactly.
Do it without AC, then you can come talk to me. Yeah. No, for sure. And I think
we got a long way to go.
But
and the growth of I can't believe driving south Lone County by Waterloo. The growth there.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and the great there's two really major housing additions out out by Harmony and my house. Yeah. So a lot of families are moving. Yeah. Yeah, it's a ton. I was about to say the west side is even starting to get in on that, where I think it was a little bit slower. South side's already kind of been
coming, but now the West Side. Now I tell Rob, at the Harmony, Pastor Rob, I keep telling him, like, I think you and Josh are going to be on the come up. Like, I think y'all landed some good spots. If you just stick it out. That's all I tell people anyway. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So if you can stick something out, I think it's coming. Like when you drive downtown Guthrie now, this morning, I don't know how many people were over in Hoboken. Like the cars are floating on to the division.
Yeah, I didn't know you could get that many people in there. I saw sometimes it's hard to get out on division sometimes, all the cars.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, I'm excited about it. What is so we got the Choose Guthrie signs up in different places. When you see Choose Guthrie, what does that mean to Neil?
I think the natural thing is to think, well, I'm going to spend my money here. But I think it's more about investing in yourself.
Yeah.
To make Guthrie better.
Yeah.
That's really what is needed.
Yeah.
People volunteer, like our council, our mayor, our council people, the school board people. They're not making money. They're not doing that for fame and glory. They're doing that because they want to contribute.
Yeah.
And choosing Guthrie is really being willing to invest in the community and making it good.
Yeah. For sure.
Because no law, nothing can artificially create that. It's all about us together.
Yeah.
Making it better.
Well, I appreciate you jumping on here with me to share a little bit of your story. Like I'm always fascinated by it because I learned so much about people, or some people I don't even know. But also, we graduated together, so. Yep. But it's always a great opportunity to learn and kind of see what life looks like for you. 30 years coming up. That's crazy.
I know.
But I'm excited about that, and I won't be able to be a part of all of it, but hopefully I get to be a part of some of it. So, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the GuthrieAmerica podcast, where we are on a mission to have every story told. Will yours be next? See ya.